So now I am redirected to the login page. So let's add the login page. So the login page will be the same as the registration page. So let's close these ones that we don't need. So it will be same as the registration, just we need to change some things. So here we have the login, and we don't need name, and we will use the password, the errors, and loading. And also we need to change the base URL to the login, so it will take us to the login. And we need the if the response or the login done successfully. So if the login has been done successfully, if you go back to the user here, controller, so we return an error if the user doesn't exist. If not, if the user exists, then we return the user with the current token. So we need to check first if the response .data.error, if we have an error, then we need to display the error. If not, then we set the email password to null. We toast the message telling the user that he has been logged in successfully, and we redirect him to the home page. If we have an error here, then we need to display this error. So let's use toast error and the message which is the error. And also we need to set the loading to false. And also here we set the loading to false, and if we have validation errors, then we display them. And that's all. So that's all, but we need also to change this one to the login, and we need to remove the name because we don't have a name. So let's check and see what we have here. As you can see here, we have the login. Let's also remove this one. Where is this one? This div. So let's remove it. And let's submit now. As you can see, we have the email and or the validation errors. Let's provide a wrong password. I'd submit. So I am redirected to the home page, even though the password is wrong, or I used the right password. I don't think so. As you can see here, let's go back here and see what we have here. So it's success, and as you can see, we have here the login. So I think that I have as you can see here, we have the user and the current token. I think that I have used the right password. So let's add a user that doesn't exist. And as you can see, these credentials do not match any of our records. Now I can log in, as you can see here, when we provided the right credentials. So let's add. But I just noticed that when we log in, so the toast message doesn't appear. So this one, toast success message. So I think that there is something wrong. Let's go back to the so here we don't send, so I don't have here a message, that's why. So let's provide the message here and logged in successfully. So now the message will appear. Let's go back here, try to log in again, provide the password, and logged in successfully. Now we need to store the login credentials of the user. So we need to store the user with the token so that we can change here the links to logout and also provide the username. So let's do that. Let's move to the app. So here inside app, so we need to add the context. But first, let's add context, and later we will add the code. So here, let's add inside. So let's add inside src. Let's add here context. And inside this folder, let's add a not context.js. And here, let's define the context. So export const auth context, and use the React dot create context. And let's give it null for now. Now we have the context. All we need to do now is to use it. So inside our app, let's use the context. So let's create the context. So here inside the app, so let's add another variable. So we have access token. This one will hold access token and set access token. So also this one will change the access token, and let's use states, and access token will be stored inside the local storage, and we need to get it. So to get it, first we need to json.parse and get the local storage dot get item, and item will be so we will name it current token. And next we need the current user. So the current user will be same. So here current user, and set current user, and the current user for now will be null. So we will not store it in the local storage, but it will be null. For now it will be null. Next we need so here we define variables that will hold the access token and set currently logged in user. We did not define the context yet, but the context will be defined inside the main.js. Now just not the main.js, but we will define it here inside the app. Sorry, just confused. So I said we will define the context, but here inside these ones we are using set the access token to store or to hold token, and the current user to hold user, and we will use the context to provide this variables to be accessible inside the registration and login page, but only on the login page. Inside the registration, we don't store or we don't get the currently logged in user. Okay, so let's fetch first currently logged in user. So we need to guess the currently logged in user. So we will use the use effects hook, and once the page is loaded, we need to get the currently logged in user, and here we need the access token. If we have the access token, then we will get the currently logged in user. So only if we have the access token, then we get or we fetch current or currently logged in user. And we need this function. So this function, let's define it here, and it will be a sync function. And let's try and catch. Let's try and catch from here. So where is the try and catch? Let's bring the try and catch from here and put it here. And so what we have here, we have already defined the routes. It will take us to, so let's add another row here. We have already defined the route, so it will take us to /user. We don't need the data. We only need to send the token. And to send token, we need the headers. And also the headers, we will use them inside here for the getting the currently logged in user and also for the logout. So we will define the headers inside the config later. For now, let's just finish the function. So we have here already defined the route, which is the /user. And once we get the user, so let's change this one. So we need to set the current user to the response.data.user. And inside the catch here, so we need to check for the status. So there was here, so we have here set loading, so we don't need to set loading, just remove it. And status, it might be if the access token has expired, we will get status code of 401. If we got 401, then we need to set the not to set, but to remove the token because the user or the token has expired. So we remove the current token. And also we need to set the current user to null and set the access token to an empty string. If there is something else, then we console and log the error. So now we need to define, as I said, the config inside here, so here inside the file that we have already added. So let's add the config. So we export const and we give it a name getConfig, and the getConfig function will take the token and send the headers. So here let's add another variable, name it config, and here inside let's add the headers, which is an object that contains the content type, and the content type will be application/JSON. So let's change it here, and here authorization, and authorization will be the bearer, and the bearer contains the token, takes the token. And once we have done, we only return the config. And we will use this function, which is getConfig, to send the headers that we have defined here. So let's use it. So here inside the app, let's get the config. This one, don't forget to import it and give it the access token. And this route will be get request, not post. Now let's see what we have here, but we don't have an access token because we are not storing the token once we log in. So we will not get the currently logged in user. So we need to store it when we log in. So we need to store it first. So let's use or provide the these variables. Let's provide them to the login component. So let's go back to the app. So here inside the app, let's move down. So here before use the browser router. Let's use the auth context. So let's bring this one, copy and paste it here. And let's call the auth context. And we use the provider. So we have dot provider, and put everything inside here. So let's change it and let's bring it and put it here. And what else we have? We have the value of the provider, and the value will be an object, and this object will contain the access token, set access token, the current user, and set current user, and that's all. And here I have a missing R, so here I forgot to add an R here. And also don't forget to import so let's import the auth context from it's inside the helpers config and also the base URL. So here also the base URL. And also we need to import the Axios. So let's import it. What else we have here? Let's check here the browser. So we have something wrong, and I think here we have this one, this inside the config. So I think that I have, so here it's not inside config, it's inside the components, not here was the context and auth context. So let's save and see what we have. Now everything works. So let's refresh and see. I think everything now is okay. So we need to move to the login. So here once the user is logged in, so we need to set the access token and the currently logged in user. So let's bring as I said, so it's an object, not an array. So let's bring access. So let's copy them from here just to not make any error. So we need to bring the access token, set access token, and we need set current user, and from the use context. So we need to use context and bring the auth context. This one. So now we have access token and set access token, and we need to check if the user has, or if we have the access token, that means that the user is logged in. So we need to redirect him to the home page. So let's check here if access token, then navigate the user to the home page. That means that he is logged in. He don't have permission to access this page if he is logged in. And what else? Was the user logged in successfully? So here, so let's set local storage, set the item to the current token, and current token will be, so will be response dot data dot current token, and we need to JSON stringify this. So let's use JSON.stringify and give it the current token. What else we need? We need to set the current, or to set the access token to the response current token, and also the user sets the current user, to the response.data.user, and that's all. So now we can log in and store the data. So here inside the data, we don't need the name. We provide only data or the email and the password. So what else we need? I think we need same thing inside here. So let's bring this one inside the registration just to check if the user is logged in. So here, so let's bring this one and put it here, and we need only the access token, used context, bot context, and let's bring this one and put it here. If the user is logged in, then we redirect him to the login page, not login, but to the home page if the user is already logged in. So let's try to log in with this user and see what we will get. So let's hit submit. So I am logged in successfully. Let's go back here to the application, and here we have the current token. Okay, so let's try to go to the login. Now we are redirected. So as you can see here, I am going to the login, but we said use effect is not defined. So let's bring the use effects. That's why it did not work. So use effects. So let's go back here, and I think that that I have been logged out, or what's wrong. So let's refresh the page here and see what we will have here. So let's take a look. We don't have any error. Let's see here. We don't get the user because we don't have the access token. So we have the access token here. It's the current token. So let's check and see what we have here wrong inside the. So we will back the header to the header later. So here inside this one, we get token from. So I have here a wrong. I did a mistake. So it's current token. That's why we have this error. It was like this, but it's current token. So let's refresh and see now. So now we have the current token. If we go to the login or to the registration page, I am redirected to the home page. And if you check here inside the network, you will find the user. The user is here. So now we need to display the logged in user inside the header. So let's move to the header and display the logged in user. So let's go back to the header here and add, or let's use the same thing as here. We need these ones. Let's bring them and put them here inside. Let's put this one here, and let's import the use context and also context. And we have the use context and context. Now we need to check for the user. If we have the user, that means, or the current user, that means that we are logged in. So we need also here the current user. And I think we don't need set current user here, but I think we do need it. We need set current user. Okay, so let's check here for the current user. If the current user, that means that the user is logged in. So we need to display something here. If the user doesn't exist, that means that the user is not logged in. So we need to display something else, which are the login and registration links. So these ones. But if the user is logged in, we'll use the same thing to display the logged in user. And so let's use the icon, which is the BI person, and here put the current user dot name. So once we have the current user, we display name. And also we need to change the route. It will take us just put an empty, or just let it as it is. Just put this one. And what else we have here? We need the logout link or the logout button. So this one will be a button, not a link, because it will execute a function. It will take us to nowhere, and we will use let's use the nav link. And what else? Person here for the icon. Let's use the person fill down. Save and see what we have here. As you can see, we have the logout and John Doe, which is the user that is logged in. And if I refresh the page, I will get the logged in user with the logout link. So let's add the function to log out the user. So the function to log out the user, let's just bring function from here. So let's bring the try and catch, or let's use the same as we have here, because we will use the token. So the same function that we have here, let's copy and paste it here and name it logout user. So it will be in sync and await, and it will take us to user / logout, and it will be a post request, and we need the base URL and the get config, which takes the access token. And once the user is logged out, we need to set the currently logged in user to null and set access token to an empty string. And what else? We need to remove the token. And what else? We need to display the success message. So we need to use toast.success, and we give it the response.data.message. And that's all. Or let's remove first thing. Let's remove token. Then we display the message, and we set the current user to null and the token. Let's now use this function. So once the user clicks on the logout, where is the logout? So this link or this button, on click, we get the button and we log out the user. So let's try to log out the user now. Let's check here. We don't have any error. If I click on logouts, so nothing happens. Axios is not defined. I forgot to bring Axios. So let's bring Axios. Let's push this one. So now we have Axios. What else? I think everything is imported. Let's click now logout. And as you can see, I am logged out successfully, but the message did not appear. Why it's not appearing? Something here, unauthenticated. So there was an error. Why? Because here the post method needs to send data. So we need to send, or just send null objects. That's why. So here we need to send null, because the post request needs to send data. So here we put null, and then we provide the gets config, the headers with the token. So that's why it did not work. So now we have removed so I think that the token has been removed. If we go back here, token has been removed. So let's try to register with another user. So here admin email.com and admin1234. Let's hit sign up. I am redirected to the login page. Use the admin password, submit credentials. So I think this is the right password, or I made something wrong. So it's not working. So let's log in using I think that I forgot the password, or I made a typo. Let's use this one that I still remember the password of this user. So we are logged in. Let's check here. We don't have any errors. We have John Doe. We have the home page. If we refresh the page, we have the user. Let's see the console. We don't have any error. Let's log out. And I am logged out successfully. As you can see now, I can go to the registration and log in. If I refresh the page, I am logged out. So this is our mini project. I hope you did enjoy it. If you are here, that means that you did enjoy the project. So please subscribe and like, and see you in my next projects.